Hello everyone. Depending on how lazy I've been, it might still be November, so Halloween wasn't far gone. So, let's explore a spooky story from the spookiest of places, France. Now, bear in mind that literally all of the information about this case comes from this woman's supposed confession, which was then written down by a guy in the 17th century, which was then noted down by some guy in the 19th century, which was then translated from French. Anyway, we're off to early 1600s France, to Cibourg, which is like right in Basque land. Oh, what's this? A church? Father, into your hands I commend my spirit. I confess, I'm a witch. I've done unspeakable things. I repent. Right. And so she confessed to her witchy activities. So she was first taken to a Sabbath, or witchy meeting, aged 16 by some lady called Gratiane. And Gratiane was given gold by the devil. Now, her description of the devil's kind of vague and contradictory, but I think the gist of it is that it's your classic Satan. Big, black, sometimes 6, sometimes 8 horns, and either with 1 or 2 big tails. He also had like a face on either side of his head for some reason. Oh, and he also had a massive penis. Like, apparently it was a yard long, which is 3 feet, or double that of the world record, and it was scaly, and the semen was ice cold. And yet, apparently the sex was good. And before any of you do get worried about some weird gremlin spawn being made and overrunning us, don't worry. You couldn't get pregnant from it, silly. So yeah, Jeanette supposedly lost her virginity to the devil, which is certainly a statement. So at the beginning of each Sabbath, she had to kiss the devil's face, navel, bottom and penis, and renounce Jesus. There was naked dancing and incest. Yeah, Jeanette supposedly got down in Funky Town with her first cousin. So, there were men banging men, and women banging women, and men banging Satan, and women banging men, and Satan banging women. And what's this? Some people are leaving. They're running to the beach. They're sailing on boats, as far as Newfoundland. And they're creating thunderstorms. Well, never thought I'd say this, but back to the orgy. So there was this weird detail that Jeanette said, whereby the devil tried to make it so people could no longer confess, which is kind of a big thing in Christianity. I don't know. I've never read the Bible. So Mr. Cipher asks himself, what is the best way to corrupt someone? So how about, get this, I bite someone under the little toe and, suck their blood. Alright, you do you. Alright, just that insolence, I'll make it only the left foot. You don't even have any legs. And Jeanette specifically calls out this happening to Francois de Bedougueret. So bugger off, Francois, you devil worshipper. At this point, I'm just going to list a few other things that Jeanette saw. On one Sabbath, some woman just started dancing with 4 toads in her shoulders and wrists. And these toads were baptised using the devil's urine, by the way. I just thought you'd like to know. So, what else? So there were these little demons who, for some reason, had no arms, and they were also tasked with keeping a fire alight. And some witches just jumped in and walked out unscathed. Then, the Grand Master of the Witches, which sounds like a guy in the KKK, jumped in. And he just sat there and let himself burn into some powder. This powder was then used to enchant kids to come to Sabbath. I mean, it's either that or lung infection for those kids at this point. And as soon as the kids could speak, they had to renounce Jesus. Boring. But I got away, let me confess. Yep. So she planned to get away for 9 months. So for the first 3 months, she just did the old Christmas Eve trick and sat awake on the nights of the Sabbath. Not that it worked though, the devil just showed up like sup and carried her away in broad daylight. So she took it a step further and decided to sit awake in the church for the next 6 months. And this largely worked, except once. On the 13th of September, she thought she'd bested old Horny and went home from church in the morning to sleep. And suddenly the devil just showed up and snatched away this weird protective leather strap she had called a higo, which sounds like a Japanese province. Anyway, she was carried away, and this marked her last Sabbath. Well, that was quite the tale. Thanks, I guess. So, that's about it. Jeanette Abadie, everyone. Well then.